When you're going to get your car repaired these days, and when I say repaired, I'm talking about collision repair. You've had an accident. It's traumatic enough all by itself. If you go to an in-network body shop collision center, you will get what you paid for or less.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Eric Reamer. That's Robert Grieve. And as always, we're so grateful that you've taken time out of your day to join us for ours. And before we go much further, I've got to acknowledge, what do you think about the new intro? It's this is season 4, Rob.
Unbelievable.
3 years we've done this, entering into our 4th year. And we hope that you enjoy not just the intro, but the content that we put out. We hope that you share it. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead, click the subscribe button. Go ahead, hit the thumbs up. Let YouTube know that this is something that we really want to share with other people. And let's get right into it. But before we do, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you, my dear friends. Happy Saturday to you.
Now, Rob, we talk about a lot of things on this channel. We talk a lot about things that we believe are important to the consumer.
Yep.
I learned a new word or a new phrase today. And it's not the concept that is new to me, but I've never heard it put in the way that we are going to deliver it to you today. That word is balance billing.
Did you have any trouble finding it on the internet?
I had no trouble finding it on the internet, which is another surprise to me because I never heard the word in, the balance billing. I'd never heard that before. But I didn't find what you tasked me to find.
How about that?
Let's share with our friends watching what we're talking about.
Okay. Well, before we get there, we're going to talk about a few other things.
Okay.
Because most consumers are far more familiar with health insurance and doctors and bills that come in and all the rest of that than they are property damage, whether it be your home, your contents of your home, or your automobile, or anything that's personal property.
Yes, sir.
That's a different type of a policy. But some of the common terms that you're used to might be in-network and out-of-network.
Talking about the medical
side.
Yeah, in-network and out-of-network. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very familiar with that one.
Yes, especially being in Colorado, they don't sell anything but an HMO here.
Right.
Which is all about in-network.
Yeah, it is.
So there's in-network, and then you have to understand what your penalty is going to be if you go out-of-network.
Right.
Because it's kind of like a punishment.
Yeah, you're right. Sure. You chose us. Stick with us.
Yeah. We'll let you know where to go.
Okay. Yep.
Deductibles.
Sure, that's the amount of money that we agree to pay, and then the insurance covers the rest, right?
That's what it's supposed to be, yes. So deductibles, all these health plans have certain deductibles, and per person, and 2 people have to satisfy first before this happens. And then there's max deductibles.
Max out of pocket.
Yeah, max out of pocket, if you will.
Yeah.
Then, let's not forget co-pays. And that could be a percentage after your deductible, or it's...
Don't leave yet. We have more relevant information for you.
Yeah. And balance billing.
Balance billing.
Balance billing.
In the medical arena, there's lots of information about this. In fact, they've made federal laws against what they call surprise billing, right? That the doctor's office isn't allowed to surprise you with expenses after the insurance gets done paying what they've agreed to pay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. So these are terms you're going to hear in the health side of things.
Right.
Now, on the property damage side of things, really the only things that you're going to be hearing about, there's no co-pays, and there's no mention of balance billing. There are deductibles,
Yes.
and while there is in-network and out-of-network, rarely do you see that in your policy.
Right.
That's something that happens after you have a loss and now you have decisions to make.
That's right.
So I want to skip down to, well, first off, let's cover in-network and out-of-network. The doctors that are in-network, they're listed in, you can find them.
Sure.
It's easy to check. Not so much on the property side. Not so much on the property side. Again, you need to wait until you've had a loss, and then they'll provide you a list of their preferred shops, which that would be considered in-network shops. And those in-network shops cannot balance bill you. They're not supposed to balance bill you. All you owe is your deductible, and yes, you will get what you pay for or less.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. And again, I like the fact that we're drawing the difference between the comparisons and differences between medical and property.
Yeah, they're all insurance policies. They're all policies we all have.
Yeah.
And they work differently. They have different terminologies. And so balance billing, we got a little definition here.
Yep.
And I had asked you to look up balance billing medical.
Right.
And you found lots of pages of information on that.
Yes.
As well as some laws and so on, when you can and when you can't, and all the rest of that.
Yep.
Then I said, now look up balance billing property damage. What'd you find?
Goose egg.
Nothing.
Nothing on the internet.
But that is a big thing today. That is a big thing. It isn't a big thing if you take it to one of their approved shops that they'll provide you a list of, who's in your area on these approved lists.
You used a different word just now. You said approved, and earlier you said preferred.
Preferred, approved.
They're
interchangeable.
Half a dozen the other, right?
Yeah, they're interchangeable. But they can't balance bill you. And if they do, then you go to your insurance company and you complain and all the rest of that stuff.
I see.
Same way you would if you were in network on a health. You shouldn't be balance billed.
I see.
Because they have contracts that say this is all you can charge.
Yeah, you've got your copay, you got your deductible, your copay, and then whatever the insurance covers, and that's the end of it if you're in network.
In network. If you're out of network, all bets are off.
You're out of luck.
So balance billing is a practice in the healthcare industry where a medical care provider bills an insured individual for the difference between the provider's full charge for a service and the amount paid by an insurance company. This practice often leads to unexpected bills for patients when they receive services from out-of-network healthcare providers. Not in-network. And again, there's some laws also, and there's a federal, and also applies here in Colorado, probably in your state as well. It's the Federal No Surprise Act.
Yep.
And this particular one we pulled out is from Colorado. It says Coloradans are protected from certain surprise medical bills under both state and federal law when a covered individual receives most emergency services, non-emergency services from an out-of-network provider at an in-network hospital.
Okay.
Let's just make it as confusing as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Because if you have to go to a hospital, you're assuming that if the hospital's in network, then the people taking care of you will be in network also.
Not always.
Not necessarily. I'm a victim of that as well.
Yeah.
To the tune of thousands of dollars. And then services from private ground ambulance providers, but not from a fire department or government entity.
Oh.
that would not fall under the Surprise Act stuff. Although that is no cheap way to do it either. When you're going to get your car repaired these days, and when I say repaired, I'm talking about collision repairs.
Sure.
You've had an accident. It's traumatic enough all by itself.
Absolutely.
If you go to an in-network body shop collision center,
A preferred,
or one of these
approved,
approved, yeah, they cannot balance bill you. And like I said before, you will get what you paid for or less. Mm-hmm. And the communication about what's covered and what's not covered will be very minimal.
Okay.
Such as a brand new car going, we had a brand new Honda Ridgeline that we did a post-repair inspection on. It went to a in-network, if you will, collision center, and they put an aftermarket hood, not a Honda hood,
on a brand new truck.
Brand new car that still had the temp in the window. Mm-hmm. They never said anything to the insured. These are the things that happen.
Sure.
So what I'm suggesting is that you really research where your car gets fixed. It's important for you to be involved in the conversation of what's covered, what's not covered. If your policy says they can put aftermarket parts on it, I don't recommend that. And you can say, no, I want factory parts, and I'll pay the difference. That's the beginning of balance billing.
Yes, it is.
Because there's going to be a balance at the end that the insurance company doesn't have to pay because it's written right into your policy. But there's also several operations, safety systems that need to be inspected, and take for instance, I just had a seasoned Geico appraiser tell us that he's never heard of steering column inspections on Subarus. They've been out there for a very, very long time. We send them to the dealer to get done.
Made a video on that.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah. And because they haven't heard of it and it's not reasonable and customary, meaning they don't, what they say, they don't see it at other shops and so on and so forth. And I almost guarantee you, if you took it to a network shop, it wouldn't be done.
Right.
But in this particular case, a steering column inspection is there's neoprene delicate parts inside of that steering column.
Yeah.
And if you're in the vehicle and you're holding on and you see the accident coming, or even if you don't, the downward pressure on that column can collapse it.
Yep.
And you won't even know it. And the only way to know is to take it out and measure it, and it either passes or fails.
Right.
And these are all important things. There's several things that manufacturers want done in the event of an accident. And there's several ways they want vehicles repaired. And there's, like in the case of Toyota, if you're doing any welding on the car, you have to disconnect the SRS or airbag module.
Right.
Because current can get back into the car. Even if you disconnect the battery, all you're doing is isolating the battery.
Right.
But current can get back into the car, and these modules are very, very delicate.
You bet.
And so, the rule of thumb is if a module is within 18 inches, and that's not an SRS one, it's just any module.
Right.
Or computer, if you will, they have to be removed. And the SRS module always has to be disconnected if you're doing any welding on the vehicle. Insurers say, no, that's not reasonable and customary. Yeah. We're not seeing it from other shops.
And you brought up the 18 inches. 18 inches from the area in which you are working.
With your welding, yeah.
Not necessarily 18 inches from the battery.
No, it has nothing to do with the battery.
Whether the battery is connected or not.
Right. And they say in there also, you start with disconnecting the battery.
Right.
It's
this was the thing that we did back and forth, and we had a video. I'll put a link to it up here and also down in the description box, because words matter.
Yes, they do. And so if you take your vehicle to one of these in-network places, they may not do everything that needs to be done that the manufacturer says needs to be done.
Right.
Because they have an agreement with the insurance company to only do X.
Right.
And if it's outside of that box, then it's not going to get done to your vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's, I've gone through surgery in an in-network situation, and the damage they did can never be fixed. So I caution you about that.
Yeah.
But the advantage of going to an in-network is they can't charge you anything more.
Sure.
But I am telling you that to get your vehicle repaired properly and safely, the way the manufacturer wants your vehicle repaired, there's probably going to be some out-of-pocket because the insurance companies deem it as not reasonable and customary.
Right.
We don't see it from other shops, so that means it must not need to be done. Even when we show them the documentation, and I think you and Greg are going to touch on that next week.
Yeah, Greg and I will definitely have a great video for you next week, and we're going to be talking a little bit about, the different sides of the
Some
same.
of the conversations that go on when you're not in the room.
Right, and when an insurer says it's not reasonable and customary, or most of the shops that we deal with don't do those things, they're not necessarily lying, but most of the shops they do business with are their partners, their approved or preferred body shops. In-network. And it's really the tail wagging the dog. And I wanted to make this point, Rob, because we've said it many times before, and it really bears hearing one more time on your side, and that is we have jobs to do, right?
We have responsibilities.
Yes. And the responsibility, the job of the insurer is to pay for the repair.
Yep. That's what you believe. That's what you think.
We say pay for the proper repair.
Yep.
I don't think anybody would sign up if we said, would you like the repair or the proper repair? No one would sign up for this one.
I think that's fair.
The job or responsibility of the body shop who is in a contract or has a contract with the people who come through the front doors of the body shop for us to repair is to repair the vehicle properly
and safely.
Right?
Yep. And they'll say all sorts of different things not to pay. Look, advertising works.
Yes, it does.
And they spend billions of dollars advertising, and it works.
Yeah.
People sign up with their product because of all their jingles and everything that they
Good
have
neighbors,
to say.
15% in 15 minutes or
all
less.
the rest of that.
You're
all
in good
the rest
hands.
of that.
Yeah.
They recover it when it's time to pay a claim. And you're the one that loses.
Absolutely.
Every time. You lose it in the value of your vehicle, and you potentially lose it in the safety of your vehicle.
Right.
But all you had to pay was your deductible.
At the lowest price possible, right?
Yeah.
And your premiums.
Yep.
All right.
So balance billing is you're going to see it more often if you go to a reputable place that is going to actually look out for you. Go to a certified shop for your manufacturer of your vehicle.
Yeah.
Start there. Don't accept aftermarket parts. Don't accept used parts. I mean, we had another insurance company. They wrote a whole used suspension on a vehicle. There's no way that we would put used suspension pieces
right.
in a vehicle.
No, it's structural. It's safety related.
You got to be safe, and that creates a balanced billing situation. So just wanted to kind of get that phrase out there, and understand it isn't part of your policy, but it is a real thing.
Let's talk one more minute about there are insurers who cover the right repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and you don't see them on TV. They're spending money taking care of you and your claim and making it as painless as possible. And there's several good ones.
Yeah.
but you're not going to see their name on TV.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, every year we put out some kind of a report on. We don't do it actually. The Crash Network puts out a report card for the top 100 insurers in America, and I'll give you a link to the article that we wrote about that, so that you can see where your insurance company rates, and perhaps some of the ones at the top where you might want to consider changing your policy.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, thank you.
So that's what we have for today.
Grateful.
I
Cheers.
will be out of town next week, attending Collision Industry Conference and the SCRS meetings. I'll miss all of you. Eric and my son Greg, hopefully going to jump in and save my butt. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.
Yep.
God bless.